Hey everybody, welcome to today's webinar where a special guest, Paula Burgess, is here. Hey Paula!
Hi.
And Paula runs a business called Beyond the Maze, or Beyond the Admin Maze. I don't know if you call it either or both, but mainly Beyond the Maze.
Both, yep.
Yeah, and has a special interest in supporting people who are running businesses, whether they've got somebody in the family who has special needs or whether they themselves running that business with ADHD. So I've asked Paula to come along today to have a chat because running a business is tough. Running a business with kids is tough. But running a business around children with special needs is mind-bogglingly tough. So she's going to share 7 tips with us around supporting clients while you have children with special needs running amok. So thank you so much for coming along, Paula. Welcome, and look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Yeah, running a business is very tough, and as we were just chatting about, I'm experiencing that right now. But you know, we all have our peaks and troughs, as they say.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So sorry, because my phone rings in the middle of that. So I just thought I'd run through some 7 tips, and some of them might be quite basic tips that you just go, you know what, I already know that, but sometimes you just need to hear them again to actually take them in and do something about them. And so we'll get started. Basically, what we're going to cover today, as I said, we'll just cover 7 tips around running a business with special needs children, and I'll sort of elaborate on that. So I'm also an ADHD coach. Excuse me, and I work with parents with children with ADHD, obviously, and I have a son with ADHD as well. So a little bit about myself. I've been in business now for myself about 5.5 years, and obviously started as a VA and worked with primarily financial advisors because that's where my background was. We've still got financial advisors to this day, and now we've branched out into physiotherapists as well, due to a request from a physiotherapist friend, and we've just sort of branched out into that field from him, which is great. And obviously I started my business around my son's needs, excuse me, and he was actually expelled from daycare at the age of 4, and I was like, wow, if I'm struggling now while he's in daycare, what's going to happen while he's at school? And that's where the idea of having a business was born, and I saw that people were supporting financial advisors through doing their advice, writing their advices and things like that. And it's like, I can do that. I'm qualified. Let's just run with it. 5.5 years later, still here, and sort of about 3 years ago, branched out into the coaching when I found a gap of there just wasn't a lot of support for parents of children with ADHD, and there's very little support still to this day, but more coming, but still very little. So I guess that's where my passion is now, is just supporting other parents with children with primarily ADHD, but obviously that comes with other special needs as well. And then now also we branch the VA side of things on working with business owners with ADHD, or if those business owners have children with ADHD, because we get their life, we get where they're sitting right now and what's happening for them. So that's, yeah, a little bit about myself. So what are some tips that actually help you through? Because, you know, having a special needs child can be pretty challenging every day, and running a business around that child can be even more challenging. So the first thing I'll say is get support, like get as much support as you can. Ask for help. Do not be afraid to ask for help. And that's one thing where I really fell down at the beginning, and I literally found myself on the floor of my office just in hysterically crying because I just felt so worn down. Nobody understood my child. I was trying to run a business and I just didn't get the help that I needed. So I just asked. I'm very blessed with a absolutely 100% supportive mum. So she stepped in and helped me out. But it was just asking for help from the school as well, saying, I'm running a business here. I can't be running up to school every 2 seconds. To help you out. So just don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask anybody, ask a friend, just ask. Because we, especially as mums, we think we want to be super mums, Wonder Woman, all of that, and we just want to do it all ourselves. And we just can't. We really can't, or we shouldn't, more so. And yeah, that goes on to try not to do everything yourself. So really just, you know, palm it out. Like if you've got older kids in the house, make them accountable for doing some stuff. Make your husband accountable, because a lot of husbands will just sit back and cruise on through, and if you don't ask them for help, they won't help you because they don't know what to do. You need to specifically ask them to do something. Hire help. So my accountant actually said to me, what are you paying yourself as opposed to what you would pay, let's say, a cleaner? So I was like, well, yeah, I could actually earn more working for myself than I could cleaning my house. So if your charge out rate is higher than what it would cost you to get a cleaner, then get a cleaner. And a cleaner is probably the one thing that will help you massively. So thinking about that, you know, just putting that into perspective to help you out with that as well. And rely on family as much as you can as well. So, you know, if you've got a good mum or dad around, or in the early days, I used to use my stepkids as well. They're adults. So again, I'm very blessed with that. So I used to get them to help me out as well in business and in family. So I'd have my stepdaughter here doing some work for me admin wise as well, just to help me out. So really it's that asking for help and relying on people and getting as much support as you can. If you don't have family around, a trusted friend, cousin, you know, anyone that sort of can help you out, or ask the school. They might have some support groups that you don't know about, and see what's available to you. Setting goals. So we all talk about goals, and this is so important, just setting those goals, but making them really, I'm just going to flick onto the next slide, so making them really realistic. You know, when we set goals, we tend to set them bigger than they probably need to be. So really sitting down, asking yourself, can you achieve that? Because having a special needs child can just throw the spanner in the works in a second. You know, you're working away, you've planned out your day, and all of a sudden you might get a call from school that you've got to go and pick up your child because just something's not working for them, and it throws out your entire day. So factoring that in, and anything like getting those goals and going, okay, that's what I need to do, and anything else beyond that is a bonus. So I sit down and write a few things that I need to get done for the day, and then my bonus things. So if everything's going along well, then I'll go into the bonus things to get done. And setting a 90-day business plan. So I like to work with 90 days rather than years out. And that's just purely because you never know what's going to come up around your children's needs. Maybe something's happening at school, you might need to spend more time at school, so you need to adjust around that. So getting that really realistic goals on what you can achieve and what you see as realistic. I'm a huge scheduler, so scheduling everything. So I go even as far as because I've got adult stepchildren, we have family days. Goodness me, I can't speak. Family days. So every couple of months we have a family day, and that's scheduled in. And I actually schedule that in at the beginning of the year for the entire year. And then I send everybody a date and say, these are going to be the dates of the family days. And this is, if you can come, that's great. If you can't, that's up to you. So I schedule absolutely everything just to make sure it all works, because with these special needs kids, we've also got appointments we've got to slip in there as well. And, you know, I mean, I know in the ADHD world, we've got things like psychologist, psychiatrist, pediatrician, occupational therapist, coach, like all these different things we're trying to schedule in. So it's got to be scheduled in so you know where you can put your work in and all of that. So I schedule in all my phone calls I have to make, any client work I have to do, everything is scheduled. But obviously I allow those gaps if something happens throughout the day. I'm very lucky at the moment. I'm in a nice place with my son. We're in a really good spot with all my previous year's stuff. So I don't get many interruptions these days. Touch wood, that stays like that. And then accept that things don't work out or won't work out, because you might have your day scheduled and then all of a sudden something will change that, and just accept that. Don't be hard on yourself. Just try and let it go and understand that you could pick that up the next day or the next couple of days. And as parents, we can be quite hard on ourselves. when things don't work out and we start blaming ourselves. But sometimes you just got to understand it's completely out of your control, and you can only control the situation that's happening right then and there, not what has happened. When it comes to work, take work that's flexible. So in the early days, I never took any work that required me answering the phone, because I couldn't be reliable enough to actually be there to answer the phone. So anything that, you know, I could answer emails for in my own time, or if my day did absolutely go out the door, something that I could do at night time when my son was in bed. So just think about when you're taking that work on, is it flexible enough for your needs? You've gone into business for yourself to be flexible. Probably one part of the reason is to be flexible around your children. So is that job you're going to take on, is that still going to give you that? So think about that. Don't be afraid to say no to something, because the right work will come up. You've just got to be really focused on what you want and what you're looking for. You know, now I've got a team, so I can take jobs with calls, but then I couldn't. There was no way, because I was just not reliable enough. So thinking about what your needs are to what will work with whatever work comes in. And be honest and be true to your values. So in the early days, and as I said, not so much now because I have a team that I can fall back on, but when it was just me, I was very open and honest with my clients and my new clients about my situation. But I always assured them that the work would still get done, and even if that meant I would have to stay up at ridiculous hours, but sometimes I would need to run out the door to go and pick up my son from school because it wasn't working for him. And my values, one of my highest values is my family. So I was being true to my values for, you know, to be honest with the client, to say, you know, basically my family comes first, but your work won't suffer from that. So it's reassuring them that the work will get done, whichever way you need it to be done, but if you need to run out the door, that's what's going to happen. And most people will actually appreciate you being honest with that. They won't, you know, if they're not appreciative of that and they're going to judge you against that, they're not your right client. You need to really remember that, you know, and I know in the early days, and I was the same, you just want clients to get your business running. But if you actually take the wrong clients, you'll continually take the wrong clients. But if you really set on taking the right clients, you're making space for more of those right clients to come your way. So it really is, you've got to be honest and be true to yourself. And if you're going to take anything away from this, that would be the most important tip that I would say you take away. And learn to say no. This is one I know as women and mums, we absolutely get stuck on. We just struggle to say no. I'm a huge problem person saying no. Don't try to please everyone. You know, it's okay to say no. And you have to look after yourself first. And a lot of people will go, I've got to look after my family, but it's yourself first. If you're not running to your full potential or most potential, you just can't look after everyone else. You know, your business will start falling down. You will start falling down. Your kids will probably start running out the door like crazy people, because you just can't focus. And so you've got to look after yourself first. And if that means saying no to someone, if that means, you know, a friend wants to meet you for coffee, but you're just stressed and you want to go for a walk instead, say no to that friend, or take the friend on a walk with you. So think about you, and that is really, really important. So learn to say no, you know, and no. Won't hurt anybody. And the last tip was really, really important, is listen to your children. You know, they are our biggest fans. They watch us run these businesses, and probably a lot of your kids have said, I want to run a business when I'm older, or they're already thinking about how to run a business. Or, you know, my son says to me, I'm going to run this big business and employ everybody and be just like you, Mum, which is really cool for me. Or the next day is going to take over my business. Whatever he chooses to do, he's decided that he's going to run a business. And he's always watching. So they're always watching you and what you're doing and how you're coping with things. And don't forget them, you know, schedule that time in, because we can get tied up with trying to run our business and looking after all our clients that we can tend to forget about our kids in the background. And, you know, I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. And it's all about just scheduling that time with them. So I tend to not do any work from school pickup until after dinner. And that's my time to be around with my son. But if he's off doing something else on his own thing, then I'll go and do some work. So it really depends on what's happening, but I'm there for him and I'm stopping. So if he asks me a question around homework, we're stopping and we're doing homework. And it's all about quality time, not quantity time. So that time you spend with them, if it's 5 or 10 minutes, really making it about them and not checking emails or checking your calendar or anything like that. It's all about them. And that 10 minutes will go so much further than if you spent half an hour with them, but you're checking your emails every 5 minutes. So that makes a huge difference as well. And listen to what they're saying to you. So what are they mirroring back to you? Are they saying, oh, you're working all the time? You never spend any time with me? And just listen to what's going on for them, because it may not be saying it directly, but it might come across in little ways where you're going, if you're really listening, you go, oh, hang on a minute, something's not working here for them. So asking them what they need. You know, a lot of us as parents don't ask our kids what they need. We ask them what they want, but what they need is different. And really listening to what they need from us. So they might say things like, I just need you to read a book with me, Mum. You know, or I just want you to sit down and not check your phone. In the early days, my son used to say that to me. Can you just sit with me and actually not look at your computer and not look at your phone? So asking them what they need. We very often forget about what they need from us, and we just give them what they think. So I'm constantly working with parents who, when they come to me and they say, I can't get my child to this, I can't get my child to this. Why are they doing this all the time? And I say, have you asked them what they need? Have you asked them how it's looking for them? How does it look for them? What do they want from you? What do they need from you? And they're like, no, because as parents, we get stuck in what we think they want from us and what we think they need from us, but it may not be that at all. You know, I've had a few scenarios where I've asked my son that, and his answer is completely different to what I think he needs. So that's really important, to listen to them and take that time out for them, and asking them what they need as well. So that was very quick, because I want to open up for questions, because I'm really aware, like, there's so many different avenues with special needs kids, but I just want to open this up for questions and make this more of a chat as well, so I can really tailor things to what you want to know. But if you do know anyone with ADHD or has a child with ADHD, you can jump over to my Beyond the Maze website. So Beyond the Admin Maze is the VA side, and Beyond the Maze is the coaching side, and they can download some free resources for ADHD. And then my favourite little quote behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believes first.
Oh.
Yes. So I love that quote, because I just believe, you know, I see it with my son all the time, that I've advocated for him for so long, and now it's really just showing out in what he's doing. So
that's lovely.
Yeah. So has anyone got any questions, I guess?
We have, like, well, back towards the start when we were talking about asking for help. Bex just commented saying that her mum was the only person in her family who would do everything that her son needed, but she passed away 3 years ago. Now she's a single mum and doesn't have anybody around who wants to help. And I know Bex got a number of children as well. Do you have any tips for her around trying to manage that? Like, to me, that would just seem very, very challenging.
Yeah, totally challenging. And I do see that a lot, where, you know, they either don't have anybody at all, or they've had someone and they're just no longer there anymore. So what I say is, you know, get in some parent groups or support groups, even if they're just online, because, you know, especially in the special needs sector, you've got other parents that get what you're going through, and they also generally get your kids more as well. So it's getting in, and I see it all the time. So I run a support group online as well, and I see, you know, parents will just do a call out and say, if anybody lives in this area, I'd love to just get together for a coffee. And they start their own little friendships from there, and then they can, as that builds, you start getting an understanding of each other, and then you've got that support network outside of what's happening for you, to be able to, you know, call on people, even if it's just a call to say, I'm just not coping today, I just need you to talk to me, you know, or having a virtual wine or virtual coffee, or going out and just letting the kids play together, or things like that. So it's just surrounding yourself with those people. You know, school might run a support group, or they might run a parent group, or a coffee and chat, or something like that. So
or like if they don't, they might be interested in starting something like that up. Yeah,
absolutely. I started my own physical support group because there was nothing here for me. So I actually started my own for that reason, because I was just struggling big time. And as great as my mum was, she still didn't quite get it. She does now, but she didn't at the time. And I just need to be surrounded by other parents in the same situation as me. So I started my own support group.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When I worked in the disability sector, the first, I used to do volunteer work with a program called Kids Under Canvas.
Yep.
So we did day trips and weekend camps for kids with disabilities.
Wow.
And it was massive relief for those parents, because we were all trained and we're all volunteers, but we had the skills and the knowledge that we had to work it out. Whatever was going on, we had to work it out. Because there was no way, in the years that I did that, there was no way that we were going to call a parent and ruin their day off unless it was a hospital visit, you know, like it was just, these kids are just human beings. You work through it with them. And so the right people there to support you. So any programs that are being run in the area that have those recreation programs is what I would personally be tapping into. And also, just getting like-minded people to catch up for a coffee. I mean, I can never express how valuable just catching up for coffee with friends is when you're having a rough day. And of course, you know, logistically it can be more challenging if you've got a child who is going to make that stressful. So working out a location, speaking to venues that might have an area that you can use that is a little bit more, quiet if there's sensory issues, or more space if you need access and that sort of thing. Just checking, and as you said, ask. Just ask. So yes, sometimes people don't get it and they won't help, but you won't get it unless you ask, which sucks. It's just kind of how it is.
That's right.
Now Beck also asked, what's scheduling? How do you do your scheduling? What do you use?
Everything for me is just scheduled in Google Calendar.
Yep.
So it looks ridiculous. People look at the calendar and go, "Oh my God, how do you live?" Very colourful.
Yeah. I love Google Calendars are the best. So in mine, I can see all of my husband's appointments.
Yes.
And my own.
Yeah.
And because we found, so it always looks like I'm twice as busy as I am, because he's in there as well. But we found, especially like once we added kids to the equation, it was like, no, I'm going to this thing. I've booked this thing. Now it's first in, best dressed. If that slot's booked in, then either you've got to negotiate to get it, or you've got to work it out. So that having that with the key people around you, being able to share calendars can be really, really helpful.
Yeah, so I did that with my husband. So he used to say, I never know what's going on. And I'm like, well, I'm going to share my calendar with you so you can see what's happening. Yeah. So I do that. And then with the family days and things like that, I just, even though it's in my calendar, I then go and set up all the events on Facebook and then put all the family in that so they can get all the dates from that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Nice. And Beck, I want you to practice the word no, please. Except for with that sentence right there. I don't want you to say no to that. Loretta said, you're right, Paula. The pressure that parents put on themselves is huge, but acceptance is a game changer.
Yeah.
And it takes, it's like you've got to adjust to, so you're not going to suddenly accept it's a time, it comes with time and persistence to retrain how you react and how you think about things. And being cool with the fact that the reality, people say to me all the time, I can't imagine you having any time off or resting or whatever. Oh my God, my husband would laugh at that, because I have a permanent spot on the couch that is my ass indented on it. Because, and it took me a long time to be okay with that, or my gardening or whatever, the things that are for me. It took me a long time to get to the point where I was like, no, I can, this is how I need to live.
Yeah.
My daughter said to me the other day, my youngest one, here, she gave me a doll, let's play. And I'm like, I actually don't play with dolls. I'm sorry, that's who mummy is, but we can play. These are the things I like playing.
Yeah.
That one, I don't. And it's because I don't expect her to play games because she doesn't like playing.
Yeah.
I want to teach her that I'm the same. You don't torture mum with your dolls.
Yes.
So when people are talking about having quality time and looking after yourself, it can feel very conflicting, because you're like, hang on, my time with myself, should that have been time that I'm spending quality with the kids? You've just got to make a choice for each time, I reckon, and go, this is where my headspace is at the moment. This is what I can cope with. And just checking in and making sure kids are eating is a good idea.
Yep. Yeah. And look, putting it in your calendar. So only, like, as I said, I've been going for 5.5 years, and only this year was the first time I've actually scheduled a me day for once a month. And I actually have to get out of the house. And one of my happy places is my car. I absolutely love my car. Yeah. So I usually just get in the car and I go for a mountain drive, and that's where I'm gone the entire day. And I might sit in a park and meditate and then treat myself for lunch. And it's all about me. I never ask a friend to come with me. Yeah. And since I've been doing that, it's made a massive difference, because I know I have my me days coming up. And it's only one day a month, so it's not huge, but it makes a massive difference, because it's like I've disconnected for everything. I've done where I'm happy, and I can come back and it feels like I can take on the world for the next month. Yeah. So, and that's scheduled in. I sat down in the beginning of the year and I've scheduled that day in every single month.
Yeah, it's not negotiable. People think that stuff, something's come, I'll use that day. No.
Yep, it's must do.
It's an appointment, yeah.
Exactly, that's right, and it's so important. And when you start doing that and you start really understanding how you feel after that, so when if anyone's going to do that, which I suggest you all do it, when you do it, really think about, before you pick the kids up from school, really think about how that made you feel that day, and think about it for a few days afterwards, and you'll get the benefits, because you'll work better, you'll just be more focused, you'll probably be more present with your kids, because you've just switched off, and it's all about you, and it's a massive difference.
Yeah. My youngest has just started kinder, and so that's 2.5 days. And so today, well, she's actually homesick today, but today's usually her day, and it's one of my work days.
Yep.
And usually, so I'm very used to working sort of 2.5 days a week. And now I have 3.5 days up my sleeve, right? Because Greg will take her one day, and the other 2 days she's at kinder. And I said to Greg the other day, I am not scheduling anything in on those extra hours that I've been given. I will down the track.
Yep.
But right now, since it's been 8 years since I've had this sort of time where I don't have to go heads down, bums up and work in those short blocks. I've got a little bit of leeway. Oh my God, I'm just like, I'm going to do whatever the heck I feel like. And it is so liberating. It is so crazy. I'm like, what am I doing tomorrow? I don't know. I'm working out tomorrow. And it's just, oh my God. And I said to him, I'm not changing that until I feel ready to give that up.
Yep.
It's just, oh my God. It is just amazing. So,
it is.
And that's for me, it's, as I said, it's been 8 years without obviously extra demands put on me that you guys have. But to allocate and give yourself the freedom, if you can get some time there and make it about you and not feel it. You don't have to feel it.
Yep.
If possible, then, I just kind of feel at the same time, though, that for some people that are listening to this, it may feel impossible to even get an hour here or two.
Yep.
to themselves. And I want to just quickly ask Loretta, what is MUSH? So she said, I found friends through MUSH who are invaluable, which is MUSH. And Beck's comment is, I've spent the last 15 years of my life thinking about what my son needs 24 hours a day, and he's only just starting to go to school full time. Well, Beck, now is your time.
Yeah, totally.
Is your time. And you deserve it so much. So, yeah, I'm excited for you. So
and and it does, like, a whole day seems so overwhelming to take to yourself. And as I said, like, it's been 5.5 years and I've only just done that this year.
Yes.
And it was only from last year I did it once and went, oh my God, this is amazing. But, you know, I say to parents, if you can't, because a lot of people can't, and they might still have little ones at home and it just doesn't work. If you can just take 10, 15 minutes for yourself, sit out the back with a coffee or a glass of wine or whatever, or just sit and be mindful about what's going on. So even if you just sat in the backyard and looked at the trees and go, that tree's really nice, or that fruit on that tree, oh, that looks looking really good. Oh, there's a bird that flies by. Just be really mindful about the present for 5 or 10 minutes, and even that can make a massive shift in your day. You know, so one degree of separation can lead up to massive shifts. So
and if you can do that barefoot too, there's
absolutely
amazing benefits to you to have that connection with the earth.
Yeah.
I find too that if I sit in the backyard for 10, 15 minutes, I'm way less likely to be disturbed by the little humans than if I sat on the couch or lay in the bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is where I want to be. But I've got a really beautiful backyard, so I'm lucky. But that's the problem. I'll sit there and I'm like, I could do that. And then I'll start gardening. But, I could sit there and people, like, they'll run around the house looking for mum.
Yep.
They won't come. It'll take them a good 10 minutes to come outside and actually find me. So I recommend that one. And just, looking at the leaves and listening.
Yeah.
On Christmas morning, I remember before people came over, I sat outside and I had some 1969 music playing, right? So it was a bit of Tina Turner or something like that. And I had that playing just on a little speaker beside me on like a rickety old chair outside in the backyard, shoes off.
Yep.
And I could hear, I've got a little pond. Dogs will, run around doing their thing. And I just thought to myself, don't forget this moment. This is heaven right here, right now.
Yeah.
And I'm still feeding off that.
Mm.
Loretta said that letsmush.com is like Tinder for mums, but not in that way.
Yeah.
They can check that out. How good is that? We'll check that out. We'll get a conversation happening around that in the group if that's all right, because I think that sounds – I'm pretty sure I saw an article about something like that, Tinder for mums, just recently. So is it a new – well, it can't be a new thing if you said that you've found friends through there who are invaluable. So maybe it's not that new. But, Beck, maybe get onto that, have a look, see who's in your area. So, but also the juggler group from Viva, get in there and just vent. We are expecting it and we are happy to support you. That's what it's for. 5 minutes away. There you go. See how good is that? People are right there and you just don't know it. So beautiful. So she's just saying, I'm not sure, Paula, if you can see the comments there. She's saying she found a friend. Yep, 5 minutes away. 2 years ago. So it isn't that new.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, very interesting.
Very cool. So it's about, just grabbing the opportunities when you can, asking, as you said, ask for help.
Yes.
Delegate. Of course. And if you're at that point where, you're getting some more hours to yourself, don't just fill them with work or chores or doing the doing. Just give yourself a chance to be bored. You can have a Netflix day if you want. Just
totally.
It's so much. Yeah.
That's right. And look, one thing I'll say, for those that have got kids in, daycare or kindy, they're probably more supportive than school is. I do a lot of work with childcare centres, and the depths that they go to support their parents, and especially parents with special needs kids, is unbelievable. So you don't know that unless you ask. So ask what they've got at their fingertips, and they probably know a world of stuff, because the ones that I've worked with, and I've worked with quite a few, they're always looking for different information to give to their parents. So they've probably got a whole heap of information on their desk somewhere, just for you to ask to hand it over. So definitely.
So Loretta's saying she agrees. The educators at her son's creche are amazing. Loretta's just published a book called A Lesson in Patience. Correct me if I'm wrong, Loretta. I've got a copy of it in my lounge room. I've got to read it. So congratulations on that. And that's obviously, you know, around her journey, looking after her son and, you know, trying to manage the insanity of life. So, so that'll be a good read too. Feel free to put a link in there, Loretta, if you want, so that other people can buy it and relate to that. But yeah, in the meantime, I thought it was perfect timing to sort of, I love a 45-minute webinar. It's perfect. There we go, lorettawellard.com.au. No worries. So, yeah, just hats off to each and every one of you, and well done with everything you've done, Paula. You've helped so many people, and it's just been really lovely to see that in action.
Thank you. Yeah, very, very passionate about it. These kids with ADHD just get such a bad rap, and they really are. They're such darling kids, and they're amazing kids. We just need to work with them to harness their extremities.
That's a good way of putting it. They're all so unique, and it's funny because we seem to just bundle everybody in together according to age.
Yeah.
So ridiculous, because everybody is unique. You don't do that as adults. Go all the 33-year-olds over here, all the 34-year-olds over there. It just doesn't work that way. We're all so different. And in children, it's very easy for people to forget that and find that any differences is frustrating, and you know, they can't control it, and that freaks them out. So it's good to have, you know, extra support and awareness out there for sure.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks again. Thanks everyone for attending. I'll make sure I get this recording up as soon as possible. Have a wonderful day.
Cool. Thanks everybody.
Bye.
Good to talk to you. Bye.